still on paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
If tomorrow all things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, because the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. The men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
He is the most highly decorated police officer in Phoenix, Arizona history, a military veteran and a true American hero. And now, here's your host, Officer Jack McLamb.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, some sea of shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, it's right in every American heart, and it's time we stand in faith.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Go whenever you're ready, Clay. You're live.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an edition of the Jack McLamb show, but I am Clay Douglas, and I'm standing in for Jack today. Jack isn't feeling well, and as most of you know, Jack had a stroke. This morning on my show, which I do through the freeamerican.com site, and I own several other networks, I had Anthony Hilder. I've been featured on a couple of, 2 or 3 of Anthony's films, and his latest one is aircrap.org. He's talking about the chemtrails, and as soon as he filmed me for that show, just shortly after that, he suffered a stroke. And this is happening over and over and over again. People in America are sickly. They've got heart disease, and it's because of the food and the lack of proper vitamins and the chemtrails. They are basically poisoning us. They are trying to kill us. They're trying to reduce the population, and white Americans are under attack the same way white Christian Russians were back in after the birth of the Soviet Union. And it's happening here right now. Boston Marathon, innocent people killed again, more children killed again. Oh, and they're going to find a terrorist to blame it on. Of course they will. I've just been going over documents after documents today, talking about going back to 9/11, and that's almost old news now. Now we got Sandy Hook. The grieving parents are being used to try to disarm the American people. Mark Dice did a film on YouTube and he pretended to be taking a petition, and he was approaching Americans down on the beach or down on the boardwalk in probably Santa Monica. He was asking them, we're getting a petition. We'd like for you to sign this petition to repeal the Second Amendment. You know, we got to take those guns away from those right-wing radicals, those Tea Party types. We gotta take their guns away. We gotta confiscate those guns. Now the gangbangers may still have it. But you know, we gotta do this. And what was incredible, at first I thought, wow, this is the communist trying to do that, and then I realized the more outrageous he got, that it was just a joke. He actually based it on a skit that Penn and Teller did. They were going to do get you to sign a petition to ban hydrogen monoxide, which is another term for water, and people were signing that, and people were stepping up to Mark Dice to sign that petition to take the guns away from Americans. It would have been, it wasn't nearly as funny as Penn and Teller. Pretty sad that Americans were falling for it. They were going for it. My God, I mean, now, I don't know, and I've wondered time and time again, have we just been dumbed down so much by the public fool system? Have we, has TV had that kind of effect on our minds? I mean, they don't call it programming for nothing, do they? Now, I've told you a long time ago that the war on terror that occurred after 9/11 was a war against anybody, anywhere that didn't want to go along with one world government of the bankers, by the banksters, and for the bankers. Sadly, I was right. Now, James Corbett did a thing back in 2010, but I'd like to play that for you. And while you are listening to that, I am going to start taking some phone calls. I'd like to talk to you today. If you've got a brain left, I'd like you to call in. 866-582-9933. Now, you know, I don't know, occasionally I stop into a Walmart and I'm always amazed at the people there. But I'm more amazed at the Patriot movement, how far we've come, how far we've degenerated. And I was going to invite a guest on today, a writer I admire very much, and he turned me down. I told him I was going to do Jack's show tonight. He turned me down because he said he wasn't getting any response. Radio, he wasn't getting any response from radio shows. Nobody's donating, nobody's buying anything, and I know the feeling. I've got books out, Mystery Babylon, The New World Order Unveiled. And that's complete history, 500 pages of history of the Rothschild, the history of the Mossad, CIA drug running that took place under the shadow of Iran-Contra. While they were talking about Iran-Contra on the television, Operation Watchtower was going on, and that was smuggling all of the drugs into the country, all the cocaine into the country through George Bush's partner, Manuel Noriega. And talk about 9/11 as a false flag operation. Wasn't done by any Arabs in a cave in Afghanistan, and I told you that, and I almost got killed for that. James Corbett did a piece called When False Flags Don't Fly. I'd like you to listen to that.
Those who have studied.
And by the way, when you get through with this, you can call into 866-582-9933. We'll take a break. Be right back with James Corbett.
Feeling when you're behind the wheel and you see him there. Oh,
Hey, Clay, can you hear me?
What's that?
Hey, Clay.
Yes, sir.
Your connection's a little spotty, so I'm going to disconnect you and call you back and see if it improves at all.
Yeah, I can try. Yeah, call me back.
Honey, why not consider storing your wealth in gold and silver?
All right, is that any better?
Well, I couldn't really tell until when you were on the air, and then it would just cut out and come back in every once in a while. So we'll see if it improves at all with this. You don't have a different line that you'd be able to use or anything like that, do you?
Not that I can get set up. I've only got the computer here.
Okay. We'll just keep going with this one then.
All right.
To kick off the 2013 gardening season. Right now, simply request our beautiful new seed catalog. Pay just $2 to help cover some of the postage costs. When you do, three things are going to happen right away. Number one, within 24 hours, your heirloom seed catalog will be sent. Number two, we're going to deposit $20 in your Heirloom Solutions account. Number three, you'll also receive three hard-hitting reports valued at $75. Our Cash Garden Report, our Food Shock Report, and our Diatomaceous Earth Report. Go to the website right now, freeheirloomseeds.com. Get $20 in free seeds. Go to freeheirloomseeds.com.
Start life over. Spend more quality time with your family. Take more vacations. Own your own business. Be healthy and earn the kind of income you've always dreamed of. Is it possible? Yes, with longevity. First, you've got to see the video that is turning the medical industry upside down. Go to healthybody13.com. That's healthybody13.com. Watch this video, then pre-register for the Spring Longevity Convention, May 2nd through 4th in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Recording has been completed.
Hi, I'm Dr. Malik, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. And I prescribe the Healthy Body Challenge, and I'll be there.
Hi, I'm Steve Schultz, Vice President of Training here at Longevity. I'm taking the Healthy Body Challenge, and I'll be there.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson, President of the Genesis Communications Network. I'm taking the Healthy Body Challenge, and I'm going to be there.
Take the Healthy Body Challenge and don't miss the Longevity Convention in Las Vegas, Nevada, May 2nd through 4th. For more information, go to healthybody13.com or call 1-800-360-8695. That's 800-360-8695.
Digestive health is the key to wellness and elimination of toxins. That bears repeating. Digestive health is the key to wellness and elimination of toxins. And Pro-EM1 Daily Probiotic Cleanse is the key to digestive health. Pro-EM1 is a powerful liquid probiotic, strong enough to cleanse, gentle enough to use every day. Pro-EM1 is dairy, wheat, and soy-free, contains all natural and certified organic ingredients, contains no preservatives or animal products, supports a healthy digestive and immune system, supports weight loss, improves absorption of food nutrients, aids in controlling yeast infections, is never freeze-dried, and uses 3 groups of live, viable, beneficial microbes to cleanse and remove toxins. Order Pro-EM1 Daily Probiotic Cleanse at Teraganics.com, spelled T-E-R-A-G-A-N-I-X.com, Teraganics.com. Or call toll-free 866-369-3678. That's 866-369-3678. Pro-EM1, the raw probiotic.
And now it's time for the Officer Jack McLamb program on the GCN Radio Network.
All right. All right, we'll see if we can do this a little bit better this time. We'll see if we got the sound a little bit better. We tried to reconnect here, and Hopefully that'll work a little bit better now. If you want to call in and talk to me, I'll take your calls, 866-582-9933. I wanted to play a little clip from James Corbett. Let's see if that works.
History, know that nothing invigorates and empowers an authoritarian regime more than a spectacular act of violence, some sudden and senseless loss of life that allows the autocrat to stand on the smoking rubble and identify himself as the hero. It's at moments like this that the public, still in shock from the horror of the tragedy that has just unfolded before them, can be led into the most ruthless despotism that now bears the mantle of security. Acts of terror and violence never benefit the average man or woman. They only ever benefit those in positions of power. This is why Nero fiddled while Rome burned. It gave him a chance to throw out the Christians to the lions and rebuild the capital of the Roman Empire in his own image. This is why Hearst and the warmongers of the emerging American Empire were delighted by the destruction of the USS Maine in Havana Harbor in 1898. It gave them the excuse they needed to rouse the public into supporting the Spanish-American War. This is why Israel attacked the USS Liberty in 1967 during the Six-Day War, strafing and torpedoing it relentlessly for hours in a vain attempt to send it to the bottom. The Israelis believed that the loss of the Liberty could be blamed on Egypt and draw the Americans into war. This is why there are hundreds of documented examples of government staging attacks in order to blame them on their political enemies. In every civilization, in every culture, in every historical period, authoritarians have known that spectacular acts of violence help to further consolidate their own power and control. And sadly, throughout history, there have been all too many willing to allow attacks to occur, to pretend that attacks have occurred, or even to attack their own population in order to further their political agenda. To think that such staged provocations and false flag attacks no longer occur would be as unrealistic as believing that human nature itself has changed, that powerful people no longer seek to increase their power, that influence is never used for deceit or manipulation, that lies are no longer told to satisfy greed or slake the thirst for control. It is to believe that our society is immune from those things that we have seen in every other society, in every other era. In short, it's a dangerous delusion. The people are once again learning the power of this delusion. They are learning the extent to which they have been lied to. They are once again studying their history. The Russians are learning how the FSB was caught planting bombs in Moscow in 1999 during a terror scare that swept Putin into power and stirred the public into supporting the Second Chechen War. They are learning how their autocratic ex-president came to power campaigning on the graves of those his old FSB cronies had killed. The Israelis are learning how Mossad has been caught time and again posing as the very Muslim terrorists they claim to be opposing. They are learning how Israel uses the specter of terror to further extend their blank check drawn on American funds to expand their police state at home and maintain their hardline stance. The world's sixth largest nuclear superpower supposedly threatened by the possibility that one of their neighbors may one day obtain a single nuclear weapon. The British are learning how their SAS officers were caught dressing up as Arabs in Iraq, driving around with trucks full of munitions, shooting at police to stir up ethnic tensions, and ensure that permanent bases could be built in the region. They are learning how Harun al-Swat, the supposed mastermind behind the 7/7 bombings, was working for British intelligence. They are learning how British military intelligence took part in IRA bombings. The Indians are learning how the Mumbai attack was helped by a U.S. agent who is cooperating with investigators so that he won't face questioning by foreign authorities. The Canadians are learning how their own provincial police dressed up as protesters in 2007 and threatened violence against other police in order to force a crackdown on peaceful protests. And the Americans. The Americans are learning that there were multiple bombs found, dismantled, and taken out of the Alfred P. Murrah building on April 19, 1995. They are learning that Timothy McVeigh had written a letter to his sister in which he claimed to be in the Special Forces for the U.S. Army. They are learning the bombing was being directed by FBI informants, just as the 1993 World Trade Center bombing was. They are learning about 9/11 and the Gulf of Tonkin and Operation Northwoods and their own Army counterinsurgency manuals that teach officers how to commit false flag attacks to blame on their enemies. In short, the people are learning the truth. And now we see the same build-up to a false flag event taking place place that we saw in 1995. At that time, the U.S. had a corporate media desperate to fling mud at anyone concerned by the actions of their government, and it had a government that was desperately unpopular. Today, we see the exact same factors at play. If anything, the situation today is worse than it was in the run-up to the Oklahoma City bombing, with media consolidation meaning that groups of concerned citizens like the Oath Keepers are being attacked by the controlled minions on both the left and the right. And now it is not just the militia that is being demonized by the establishment. It is veterans and gun owners, third-party supporters and libertarians, anti-war protesters, and human rights campaigners, people who are upset with a government giving trillions to the banks that have engineered our current financial crisis. In short, everyone is now a potential terrorist according to the governmental and media agencies that deign to limit our range of acceptable opinion and control dissent. Even the word terrorist means something more than it did back in 1995, now after the false flag attack of 2001 allowed the passage of the Patriot Act, after the boogeyman of Al-Qaeda gave the NSA the opportunity to announce that they were collecting everyone's emails and everyone's telephone calls, after the former White House press secretary came out and admitted that the Bush administration had made up terror threats in order to scare the people into supporting the government, now we know what the real definition of terrorism is. It is governments scaring their own populations into line. But there is something else that's different now from what it was in 1995. The people are learning something else about terrorism. They are not terrorists for speaking out against their government. They are not terrorists for wanting the government to stop selling their children into servitude to pay bankers their bonuses. They are not terrorists for pointing out that the FBI and the CIA and Mossad and MI6 are behind every major international terrorist event. The people are not terrorists because they do not want to see more death. They do not want more destruction. The spilling of the blood of their fellow citizens is not in their interests. Death and destruction only ever serve the governmental and financial and industrial interests who always grow in power and wealth in the wake of every tragedy. Time and again, the people pay with their lives, and the governments and the banks and the war machine only grows and prospers. The people do not want terrorism because it does not benefit them. It only benefits the existing power structure. And this time, if there is another staged event to blame on the government's enemy of the day, the people will know who to blame. For the Corbett Report in Western Japan, I am James Corbett.
And there you go, somebody from overseas again telling you what I've been telling you year after year since 1994. Call in 866-582-9933. Pay attention. You are the terrorist in their eyes now.
When you're behind the wheel and you see him there, or when you're around.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASAP. What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Visit GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible. Introducing a 30-day emergency food supply for only $99. At 30dayfoodsupply.com, you can purchase Oregon Trail Foods' 1 month supply of high-quality, nutritious, and healthy emergency meals for less than $100. These vegetarian meals are natural, high in carbs and protein, and are packed with oxygen absorbers in Mylar pouches. They take up to 70% less space than number 10 cans, have a 20-year shelf life, and huge portions, over twice the serving size of some competitors' meals. Oregon Trail Foods and 30dayfoodsupply.com keep prices low by buying direct from producers in Oregon and then pass the savings on to you. Purchase a 30-day, 90-serving emergency food supply for only $99 this month, and $10 ships your entire order to the lower 48. Call 541-673-6666 or visit 30dayfoodsupply.com, where they make preparedness affordable. 30dayfoodsupply.com. Got it? Get it. Go to 30dayfoodsupply.com.
Ceramic body armor is rated to stop 6 hits. But what about the 7th? Unlike ceramic or Kevlar, Infidel body armor is proven to take hit after hit, and it just won't quit. Reasonably priced and designed for the smart civilian prepper, Infidel stops hundreds of hits from small arms to high-powered rifles. That means safety and peace of mind. Buy yours at InfidelBodyArmor.com. Spelled I-N-F-I-D-E-L, bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor just won't quit.
We the people grow cotton, wool, leaf fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Hi, Ted Anderson. I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Don't throw away leftovers. Instead, throw all your leftovers, vegetable peels, eggshells, coffee grounds, pizza crusts, and more into the bokashi. If you love to garden and compost but don't like the hassle of turning a compost bin or the smell, then check out the EM Bokashi Food Waste Recycling System from Terraganics. Finally, a way to recycle all your food and plant waste safely and effectively and stop using fertilizers. The EM Bokashi Food Waste Recycling System. Rather than the decomposition, the Bokashi system uses fermentation to break down waste, so it takes less time to create nutrient-dense humus for crops or gardens, with no turning and no obnoxious odors. To learn more and order your Bokashi online, visit Terraganics.com and click on the orange button. That's Terraganics.com, spelled Terraganix.com, or call 866-369-3678. That's 866-369-3678. Recycle all your food waste in about 6 weeks with the Bokashi Food Waste Recycling System from Terraganics.com. Terraganics. Life's getting better.
And now, the Officer Jack McLamb program on GCN Radio.
All right. Great intro music. You know, Corbett just backs up everything that I've been trying to tell you for years now. And I've always told you that you can consider me the canary in the coal mine. What they tried to do to me about the militias, what they tried to do to me after I blew the whistle on Larry Silverstein's 9/11 and referred to that as exaggerated case of Jewish lightning. Tried to tell you that no Arabs in a cave in Afghanistan made the U.S. Air Force stand down. Got more information about that up on my Facebook site. Now you can go to, you want to add me as a friend on Facebook, I'm known as Free American 69. If you want to talk to me, my Skype is Free American 69. My radio shows are archived on freeamerican.com. And folks, if you send a donation to Clay at freeamerican.com, you can get a PDF of a 500-page book. If you want a hard copy, that's published by the Texas Independence Movement, and those are available too. All of them are listed up on my website. My videos are up there too. I've got a shopping cart now. Free American presents American Dream or Nightmare. And the true face of FEMA, I filmed the first Homeland Security meeting after 9/11. And as soon as that came out, they tried to kill me too. I've got Colonel James Brinkerhoff telling law enforcement in Albuquerque, we're in for a long war. And this war may be longer than the Cold War. And our enemy is weak. Our enemy doesn't have helicopters and jets and bombs, and so they're going to use unconventional methods, and we've got to use unconventional methods too. Well, the war on terror he's talking about is a war on you. If you don't want to work for the bankers, if you don't want to be a good slave, if you want to rebel against your masters, then you are the enemy. You are the enemy. Now, let me share this with you. This was sent to me by my friend, great writer, but he's gotten pretty disgusted with the Patriot movement too. And after I blew the whistle on 9/11 and told you it was a false flag operation, they went on their way to silence me. Still working at that, still trying to do that, because you can't pick up Free American in a library at Intel or Intuit. And my friend John Kaminsky, who's pretty disgusted with you, who quit trying to even do anything, or quit the radio anyway, and I've had other friends that did that. John Trockman of the militia of Montana said, we tried to tell them, Clay, we tried to tell them what FEMA was going to become, we tried to tell them what NAFTA and GATT was going to become, and they wouldn't help us then, they wouldn't support us then. So to hell with them, they're going to get the government they deserve. And that's the point where we're at now. We are right on the verge of exactly what happened to the white Christian Russians when the Soviet Bolshevik Revolution that created the Soviet Union, created the false flag, created our own enemy with our own technology, sent over by Jewish spies, the Rosenbergs. Kaminsky's tried to tell you what Israel has become. It was a Rothschild colony, but you're not allowed to talk about it because, then they're going to accuse you, as they have me, of being anti-Semitic. When are we going to wake up? Will we ever be able to see how our government deliberately turns our joyous days, like this one with the Boston Marathon, into tragedies, and now has advanced its criminality into killing innocent people as part of a drill to show us why we have to be frisked, molested, and irritated at every public event we attend? It's not exactly new stuff, this Boston Massacre marathon drill. For those who still haven't gotten the message, the Boston police have admitted, and numerous witnesses have observed, that before the bombs that killed and maimed hundreds of happy observers of an innocent road race, that authorities were conducting an anti-terror drill during the race. The bombs that went off on that sunny, happy spring afternoon proved beyond doubt, and once again, for the 100th time, that it is our government that are the terrorists, and they're not out to protect us. They're out to kill us, rob us, and enslave us, while they demonstrate this diminished need for security as they themselves create the terror. How many recent examples do you need? How about Sandy Hook and Aurora, two psyops that are riddled with questions the government will never answer? We don't really know if any of those human beings the cop-controlled media said were killed were actually killed at all, but we do know that if anyone was killed, like Adam Lanza and his mother, they were doubtless killed by cops posing as terrorists. We don't know if James Holmes actually killed anyone in that Colorado theater complex. We've never seen him in a condition to kill a fly, never mind people, drugged into a stupor and not permitted to explain what he knew to the public is all we've ever seen of him, and with all of his history provided by our cop-friendly media. Anybody who was killed in the so-called terror events was killed by cops, just as so many people, innocent people, are murdered these days by rampaging thugs in uniform. The so-called Sandy Hook massacre was clearly a psyop. A top-ranking cop even came out and said, anybody who challenges the official version of events could be put in jail, verifying the lies he was spewing. They switched the license plate on the mysterious red van and attached it to Adam Lanza's Honda. Why would they do that, except to cover up their crimes? But this kind of deception is not exactly new stuff. Yeah, take a look at Oklahoma City and Timothy McVeigh, and I published his so-called death certificate. He was still listed, his employer was the U.S. Army. In fact, when you look closely at these phenomena, all of American history, at least throughout the 20th century, probably longer than that, is exactly the same kind of false flag operation, emotionally blackmailing the populace into something they don't want to do that is not in their best interest. Think about this, people. Think about the string of catastrophes that have plagued the public mind and diminished the public's health in recent memory. Hurricane Sandy, first storm you ever saw with an uncanny S-turn in the worst possible location, precisely predicted 5 days in advance. And then think back to Hurricane Katrina when they had to bomb the levees to get the necessary disastrous effects. Call in 866-582-9933 if you're not already brain dead.
You've heard about our MRE smorgasbord. Now, Long Life Food Depot introduces the most unique, safe, and longest-lasting way to stash emergency food, the E-Pod. Most survival food products recommend an ideal storage environment, including low temps, low moisture, and low oxygen. If you're storing in a basement, too humid, garages and attics, too hot, but the waterproof, double-walled, high-density polyethylene patent-pending E-Pod is a unique roll-away food bunker that creates the perfect conditions, can be buried up to 30 feet, and can keep your survival food supply safe, secure, dry, and virtually undetectable for 25 years or more. Get full details on the E-Pod at eatpod.com, spelled EATPOD.com, or call 800-601-2833. That's 800-601-2833. The E-Pod from Long Life Food Depot. Since 1983, sending real food to your real future.
Do you owe the IRS money that you can't pay? Are tax liens and levies ruining your life? Are you tired of being afraid just to go to the mailbox? If this describes you, then Dan Pilla can help.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla, and I've been solving tax problems for more than 30 years. In fact, I wrote the book that made it possible to negotiate settlements with the IRS, and I've helped thousands of people do exactly that. Call now at 800-346-6829 to learn how I can help you. You know your IRS debt will not go away by itself, but you don't have to live in fear anymore. New changes to IRS policies will help more people than ever before eliminate their debts once and for all. There's no need for you to suffer another day with IRS debt. Call 800-346-6829. I can help you eliminate wage and bank levies, release tax liens, and negotiate a settlement with the IRS that will put your tax nightmare behind you forever. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, taxhelponline.com. That's taxhelponline.com.
Nice shooting. Hey, that's a sweet AK-47 chest rig. Is that Bushcan?
Yeah, got it from StrikeHardGear.com.
Strike what?
StrikeHardGear.com.
Set your sights on StrikeHardGear.com. Tough, tactical gear for your Soviet-style weapon that's made in the USA. Affordable, plus a no-questions-asked 30-day money-back guarantee and lifetime replacement warranty. StrikeHardGear.com. Go ahead, pull the trigger.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it led back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Hi, Ted Anderson. I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
A little over a year ago, I began to do a lot of research into why, even if I had a pretty good-sized meal, that I was still starving. And my research led me to a well-known fact that most of the soils that we grow our crops on here in the United States and across the industrialized world are almost completely depleted of almost all of the key minerals and trace elements that our bodies need to rebuild themselves, fight off cancer, and be healthy. I then searched out the best vitamin and mineral company out there and discovered Longevity. The Longevity products are designed to give you the real nutrition you need, and once you've got that, you don't have to eat as much to be satisfied. I've lost 37 pounds in 2 months. Simply getting the vitamins and minerals I need. Check it out for yourself. It's incredible. Go to InfoWarsTeam.com today and order your first canister of Beyond Tangy Tangerine Complete Multivitamin Mineral Complex Dietary Supplement. That's InfoWarsTeam.com.
And now, here's Officer Jack McLamb on GCN.
All right. Yeah, let's go on. As I said, think back to Hurricane Katrina. They had to bomb the levees to get the necessary disaster. And the Gulf oil spill, on which the same people who run the government made billions by by betting the disaster would happen. And by the way, I saw photographs of the helicopter landing platform, had a hole burnt right through it. Now, in case you don't know it, Israel and the United States have a joint project that they tested, and I got to see at White Sands Missile Range, up on a mountain there, White Sands Missile Range. They got an observatory, and I got to tour that. I knew a lot of the people that worked there. And when they weren't playing video games, they were testing the airborne laser, and they bragged that they could hit the O in God on a dime in the hands of a running man at 50 miles. They also used that to punch a hole in the platform to create that disaster. That was another attack on our food supply. Now, remember, now they're also saying, oh, I just saw this could be a lone guy, a lone wolf, or it could be danger too. Now, using that lone wolf theology, which they've always tried to apply to me, because you can't infiltrate a lone wolf, and that was my nickname when I was a biker in a club in Euless, Texas, called the Ghost Riders, which became the Banditos. They called me the Loner because I didn't hang out with that many people. So then flash forward to the crotch bomber and the shoe bomber and the prosecution of drugged and duped drifters that led us to getting cancer or being sexually molested at airports and other public venues. The Boston Marathon Massacre is the next step in this adventure. Now we'll have to be groped to protect the public at every public event we attend. We all are tempted to believe that these false flag psyops operations are some kind of new phenomena. Oh, the freckless, badly educated masses consider them to be real enough and consequently believe what the government tells them, which makes them want to go out and shoot the nearest Muslim or their next door neighbor who talks about the Second Amendment. But this activity is not new. It's the essence of American history. Leaders foisting a scam on all of us because they have received giant bribes to do so. The Boston Marathon Massacre stands as merely the latest in a seemingly endless series of deceptions that stretches back through time. Aurora, Sandy Hook, and killing Osama bin Laden, the mere mention of whom takes us back to the granddaddy of all American political lies, the 9/11 massacre, which our government refused to let us investigate authentically because it was the trigger that led to the needless deaths of millions of people, which our government wanted to happen. This is perhaps the most stunning example ever of cops posing as terrorists, as we can adduce from the events on Boylston Street in Boston on Patriots' Day, continues today ever stronger than ever. Will we ever wake up and see the spreading scam for what it is? When you put everything into context and take the wider view, the biotech food, the toxic geoengineering, the mind-dulling fluoride, carcinogenic radiation, the poison medicine, the legal system that is a cross between the mafia and an African tribe of cannibals, a school system with all the relevance of a daytime TV soap opera, and a media absolutely uncritical of our killer government? The answer is clearly no. We will not wake up, even as we know we are perishing by the minute. The Big Sleep is a title of a 1939 mystery novel by Raymond Chandler and a euphemism for death, full of characters who hide their ulterior motives and kill anyone to advance their warped goals. It is a condition that engulfs us today. The only way the world can escape this imposed amnesia, already so well advanced throughout the world, is to immediately evict and execute all of those elected officials who continue to participate in this colossally big lie, who willingly assist in this gigantic terror hoax as a way to get temporarily rich in the deepening twilight of humanity's slide toward oblivion and extinction. Enforcing bogus laws, planting evidence, intimidating the innocent, the cops are today's terrorists, and the dupes they deceive into taking the fall are you and me, and all the other millions of obvious, oblivious stooges who refuse to see what they are doing. That's John Kaminsky that supplied that to me. We won't do radio anymore, but you need to hear his words. And also, let's just go back almost a few more years to Smedley Butler, who said war is a racket. War is a racket, and it always has been. It is possibly the oldest, easily the most profitable, and surely the most vicious. It is the only one in international that is international in scope. It is the only one in which the profits are reckoned in dollars and the losses of lives. A racket is best described, Smedley Butler said, I believe, as something that is not what it seems to be to the majority of people. Only a small inside group knows what it is about. It is conducted for the benefit of the very few at the expense of the very many. Out of war, a few people make huge fortunes. Now, Smedley Butler said this back in the 30s. I believe that was the 30s. But there's more than one war. We've got the war on terror now. Before that, we had the war on drugs. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, the war on drugs is such a scam. The CIA, if you get my book, Mystery Babylon, and you can do that by sending just a donation to clay@freeamerican.com via PayPal, I'll send you the PDF of my 500-page Mystery Babylon, New World Order Unveiled. And you'll have all of the history that you need. You'll see why they've declared war on the veterans, why they've declared war on the and why they declared war on the on drugs. They don't want you to have marijuana. They want to make it illegal. They stole our #1 cash crop. You can't get high off of hemp, but you can make 10,000 products of it. But you got to buy it from China, or you got to buy it from Canada, or you got to buy the stuff you can smoke from Mexico. What we ought to do is tear down that wall between the border, replace it with tables, abolish all the laws against victimless crimes, let the Mexicans and let the Colombians, let the Panamanians bypass the CIA, bring it up, pay a duty on it, lay it on the table, and nobody goes to jail. You go down, buy what you want. We end the foreign aid. Let's become isolationists again and trade with other people. Cut the CIA out of it. God bless you. And keep an eye on Jack McLamb. He's one of our heroes. A good cop. God bless you. FreeAmerican.com. I am Clay Douglas.
And have a good night.